Hi, I'm Dempsey Palat, and this week I'm reviewing... Now before we start off, as always, I just want to take a quick second to remind you guys to make sure you hit that like button if you like today's video, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well for more new movie-related content weekly. But without further ado, let's jump into today's film. #Alive is a South Korean horror film directed by Cho Il-hyung. The film stars Yoo Ah-in as a young man who, confined to his apartment complex, must figure out how to survive and overcome a new viral infection that's spreading and turning everyone outside into a zombie. Now, this is one of Netflix's latest offerings, and if I'm being honest, I was totally unaware of its release and even its existence up until Netflix did that thing where it spams your homepage with random recommendations until you finally give in and give whatever it is they're showing you a shot. Except, I'm really glad I gave this film a shot because I really enjoyed it. Yes, it's a zombie movie, but it isn't your typical zombie movie. Not only does it have a bunch of interesting twists, but it also has some new rules about zombies that lay the groundwork for some really great sequences. For instance, all of the zombies remember key motor skills and functions like how to open doors, and they even remember what their careers were and what they did in those careers. And I know that especially sounds arbitrary, but believe me when I say that what they do with that idea makes for one of the film's most suspenseful moments. In addition to being thrilling and at some points genuinely terrifying though, it's also really funny. And realistically funny too. There's this one scene at the very beginning of the film where our main character is trying to watch the news to figure out what's going on, but then all of a sudden they cut to a commercial, and the commercial is for food. Now, I don't think I should have to explain why that's both wrong and humorous, but at the same time, it doesn't feel too far off from what would probably happen if there was an actual zombie apocalypse. Trust me when I say this, even at the end of the world, corporations will still be trying to make money off of us. The film also likes to poke fun at modern technology. Right before the television signal cuts out, our main character learns how to turn his phone into an FM radio. All he needs is a pair of wired headphones. But all he owns are Bluetooth ones. And once again, I think we'd all be in the same boat. I don't know anybody who still owns an FM radio in any capacity, unless of course you have a car. Now, I actually did a little bit of research and I found out that this film was written in 2019, long before the pandemic. Yet, it still feels so relevant. And that's because by no fault of its own, it kind of falls into this new genre of horror that I personally call quarantine horror. And it's one that Shudder's Host kind of started and paved the way for. So I certainly don't expect this to be the last film of its kind. But besides simply following a person who's forced to stay home and deal with a pandemic of sorts, it captures the real feeling of despair and hopelessness that being alone or without human interaction inevitably brings. Now, while I definitely did enjoy this film, there were also some things that I didn't really like about it. Firstly, I found that there were a number of noticeable pacing issues, the biggest one being that the film starts at 100. And it's not necessarily a bad thing because other films have done it before, even zombie movies. I can think of World War Z off the top of my head. But the way this film does it isn't really smooth. There are also these title cards that appear occasionally to let you know how much time has passed in the film, and according to them, the film jumps around quite a bit. But it never really feels that way. It feels a lot more like we're following our character day to day as opposed to from day 5 to day 10 to day 20. And it threw me off a little, I'm not gonna lie, and it might throw you off too. There were also some plot holes. One of the biggest ones I found revolves around a young woman that our main character meets in the building directly across from him later on in the film. By the time the two cross paths, the virus has been around for weeks, and we never get an explanation of who she was or where she was prior to her meeting our main character, or prior to her making our main character aware of her existence. Because if you watch the film, the way in which they meet kind of implies that she's had her eye on him for quite some time. And I just found her emergence in general to be way too convenient. And once again, I really wish that we got just a little bit more of a background on her. But believe it or not, there was something about this film that I disliked even more than those two things, and that was, or is, the title. Not so much the alive part, more the hashtag, because the hashtag implies a strong presence of social media, or that social media plays a huge role in this film, and that's just not true. In fact, our main character loses internet connection very early on in the film, and while he does try to post on social media throughout it, he's only successful once. And it isn't until the end that that post is kind of brought back and they try to use it to make the title make sense. But by that point, it's irrelevant and it kind of detracts from the film. Once again, I think keeping the title to Just Alive would have made a lot more sense, because at its core, the film delves into the importance of having a motivation to go on. After all, it's that desire to live that really separates us from the undead. I mean, that's why I thought this film was so #good in the first place. See what I did there? And for that, I'm going to give this film 4 stars.
Cool. Cool.
Guys, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to view this video. It really does mean the world to me. And once again, if you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well for more new movie-related content weekly. Now, if you happen to see this movie, which, by the way, is available on Netflix right now, if you haven't, I highly recommend you go check it out. But either way, let me know what you guys thought about it down below in the comment section. I look forward to reading and responding to all of your comments. It's probably one of my favorite things to do as a content creator. But that's pretty much all the time that I have for you guys today. As always, be on the lookout for more new content shortly. I have a lot of stuff that I'm very excited to share with you in the coming weeks. And, well, I should probably get back to work. So, until next time, I'm Dempsey Pilot. Take care.
No way. It can't be.